Everyone, in this video, okay, you can see we are going to talk about the kingdom Animalia. Okay, so we are going to talk about their general characteristics, classification, phylum level classification, and the economic importance. Okay, so without wasting time, let's just start the topic. So the kingdom Animalia, it includes multicellular eukaryotic heterotrophic organism. Okay, and these are commonly referred as animals. Okay, and the properties, they are animals, they are motile, they are able to move. Okay, they lack the chlorophyll and okay, depend on others for their food. Now just quickly talk about the characteristics, gender characteristics. So we will be talking about the 6 gender characteristics. Okay, so first of all we will start with the cell structure. So the eukaryotes, they are animal cells, they are the eukaryotes. Okay, animal species, they are eukaryotes. So eukaryote, we know what does the eukaryote means. Eukaryote means they have well defined nucleus. Okay, but they do not have cell wall. Okay, so this is the major difference between the species belonging to kingdom plant and kingdom Animalia. So plant does possess the cell wall, however the animal cell, it does not possess the cell wall. Okay, and since it's a eukaryote, it possesses the organelle, membrane bound organelles like mitochondria. Okay, for the purpose of energy production. And they, since they are heterotroph, it means they cannot there synthesize their own food. Okay, so they lack chloroplast. Okay, so the second very important is the mode of nutrition. Okay, so if we talk about the mode of nutrition, then I already told you that they are heterotrophic. It means that they are dependent on the other species for their food. Okay, so they can be herbivorous. It means that they will eat the herbs, okay, the plants. They can be carnivorous. It means they can eat the animals also, like goat, sheep, etc. Okay, and they can be omnivorous also. Okay, omnivorous. So omnivorous are those species that can eat both the herbs or the plants or the animal meat also. Okay, so the example of the herbivorous is cow. The carnivorous is the tiger or leopard. Okay, and human is the omnivorous. Okay, now we'll talk about the body organization. Okay, so in the kingdom Animalia, the cell, okay, they will form the tissue, organ, and the organ systems. Okay, so the kingdom Animalia species, they have the organ system. Okay, so what kind of system like they have? It means the example includes the digestive or the circulatory systems. Okay, and if we talk about the body symmetry, then the body symmetry can be radial. Okay, example as in the case of the jellyfish, or it can be bilateral symmetry. Okay, bilateral body symmetry, and this is exhibited by the human. Okay, the bilateral body symmetry is exhibited by the human, whereas the radial symmetry, it is exhibited by the jellyfish. Okay, if we talk about the locomotion, so we know that we have the kingdom Animalia species, they will have, they are motile. Okay, so they can move. Okay, so they possess the locomotory organ. Okay, example the legs, fins, wings, etc. Okay, and the fifth point, I told you that we are going to talk it about the general characteristic in the 6 points. The fifth one is the reproduction. Okay, so dominantly, okay, the reproduction is sexual. Okay, in this case of the animal kingdom Animalia species. Okay, however there are some exception like planidia. Okay, that will undergo the asexual reproduction also. Okay, so predominantly it's a sexual, but asexual, okay, in the exceptional cases also occur. Now the last point is the nervous system. So this is very important point, that the kingdom Animalia species, okay, they most of the species, they have well developed, okay, nervous system. So why the well developed nervous system is required? Because it is required to coordinate the movement and the responses, okay. So student, this is all about the general characteristics of the kingdom Animalia, okay. Now let's just talk about the classification, okay. So basically there are two subkingdom, okay. So the two subkingdoms are subkingdom, we will write, okay. So the first subkingdom is the parazoa, okay, parazoa, and the second one is the eumetazoa, okay. So students, the parazoa species, what about the important thing about them is that there is no tissue organization, okay, no tissue organization in case of parazoa, okay. However, the eumetazoa, they will exhibit the organized tissues, okay. So they includes sponges, parazoa, it includes sponges, okay, whereas the eumetazoa, okay, so it will include all animals with true tissue and organ system, okay. So all animals with true tissue and organ system, okay, organized tissue, okay. So example of the species, because since it is consisting of only sponges, then the example are the cycon, okay, and spongilla, okay. Now this eumetazoa, the level of organization differ, okay. So the eumetazoa, based on the level of organization, okay. So they are of two kind, okay. The first one is the diploplastic animal, okay, and the second one is the triploplastic animal, okay. So if we talk about the diploplastic animal, students, they will exhibit the two germs layer, okay. So there are two germ layers, okay, and here the name itself indicates that in the triploplastic animal there are three germ layers, okay. So what are the two germ layer in the diploplastic animal, students? They are means external layer, okay, ectoderm, and internal, that is the endoderm, okay. And in addition to ecto and endo, okay, I will write ecto, endo, there is a mesoderm also, okay. In between the ecto and endo there is a third layer that is known as mesoderm, okay. So the example of the diploplastic species includes jellyfish or hydra, okay. Whereas the example of triploplastic animals, it will includes I will write it here. There is no space, so I will write it here. The example includes human, okay, worms, and fishes, okay. So student, this is all about the classification. Now we'll talk about the phylum level classification. So based on the phylum, okay, there are 9 classes, okay. So we will write them all one by one. So one is the porifera. First we will write the classes, okay. Then second is the Cnidaria. The third one is the platyhelminths. Students, I am trying to give you all the details in a point-wise manner, okay. So if you want to go deeper, you can just read some very good books, informative books, okay. But this is like concept map, so you can just at the last minute You can just revise it also, and it should be on your tips. Okay, so if you cover all this, then I think your most of the syllabus, it will be covered under these headings also. Okay, so we wrote here the different classes like Porifera, Cnidaria, Platyhelminths, nematodes, annelids, arthropoda, mollusca. Okay, the eighth one is the chordate, echinodermata. And the last one, last but not the least, let me just move it like this, the chordata. Okay, so now just let quickly talk about them one by one. So the first one is the Porifera. So the name itself indicate pore means the species, it will contain the pores. Okay, so example, I will write it here, pore bearing animals. Okay, so the example is Spongilla. Okay, so if we are talking about the Cnidaria, okay, then the Cnidaria consist of the animal or the organism, okay, that are radially symmetrical. Okay, and these are the diploblastic organism. Okay, I will write it here, diploblastic also, and the example includes the Hydra. Okay, there is another example, that is the sea anemone. Okay, then if we talk about the platyhelminths, okay, so they also exhibit the bilateral symmetry. Okay, bilateral symmetry it exhibit, and they are flatworms. Okay, so the example includes the planaria. Okay, now let's talk about the nematodes. So the nematodes, it includes the roundworms. Okay, and these are unsegmented, and example is the ascaris. Okay, then we'll talk about the annelids. Okay, so annelids exhibits like they are the organism that will exhibit the segmentation, so it will include the segmented worms. Okay, so example is earthworm is there, and also the leech. Okay, so the leech is the example. Then the arthropoda, it's the largest phylum. Okay, so it's the largest phylum, and it consists of the segmented body. Okay, and joint appendages. Okay, so I will just take here, there are so many examples like spider, crab, butterfly, but we will write it here spider. Okay, then we will come to the point, mollusca. Okay, so these are soft body animals. Okay, they are often protected by the covering. Okay, protected covering, example the shell, and the example will include the snail or the octopus. Okay, so we will write it here, snail. Now let's come to the echinodermata. Okay, so echinodermata, it includes the marine animal. Okay, and this will have the spiny skins. Okay, and they will display the radial symmetry. So I already told you in the body organization that radial symmetry is displayed by the starfish. Okay, so the example here is the starfish. Okay, the other example is the sea urchin. Okay, then comes the chordata. Okay, so the chordata includes the animal. Okay, that will have the notochord. Okay, so they exhibit the notochord. Okay, the dorsal nerve cord. Okay, and there is a post-anal tail also. So this chordata, it includes the three subphyla, that is the Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and the Vertebrata. Okay, So we will talk about them in some other separate video. Okay, so now just quickly talk about the economic importance of the animals. So they are we will write it in the 4 steps. So they serve as a very important source of food. Okay, so they will, what they will provide, they will provide us with the milk, okay, meat, egg, okay, and fishes. This is the form, okay, in which we are consuming them. Then they are also the source for the clothing material. Okay, they will provide, what they will provide, they will provide us with the silk, okay, wool and leather. Okay, then they are very important pollinating agents. Okay, so they will assist us, they will help us in the pollination process. Example, bees. Okay, and the last one here we are going to talk in this video is the labor. Okay, so there are certain classes of animal, like there are oxen, okay, horses. Okay, these are used for the transportation purpose. Okay, so we in the remote area, okay, where there is like it is very difficult to take the vehicles, then these animals, they are used for transporting the substances. Okay, for example, like the construction materials. Okay, so this is all about the kingdom Animalia in this video. Thank you for watching the video.